handshake or no handshake? I have been asked this question many, many times over the last 24 hours. Journalists have asked if we know what's going on. Fans have asked if we know what's going on. Viewers have asked on our shows if we know what's going on. So plenty of people have asked the same question, that will there be a handshake or will there be no handshake? Let's say a few things here and be kind of categorical about it. On the sporting field, it is not mandatory according to the MCC rule book that you have to shake hands. That's point number one. If you don't want to shake hands, you don't shake hands. But the MCC rule book doesn't make it mandatory. Excuse me. The MCC rule book doesn't make it mandatory for the players to shake hands on the field. Accordingly, India did not shake hands with Pakistan in the Asia Cup. India did not shake hands in the Women's World Cup. India did not shake hands in the Under 19 World Cup. In fact, in the Under 19 World Cup, there were two instances also. Even in the match against Bangladesh, there was no handshake initially, but then BCB clarified that it was an error in judgment and there was no real issue there, and they wanted to play in the spirit of the game. End of the game, both teams shook hands, so the problem was sorted. In the recently concluded Australian Open, there was an instance where in the final there was a kind of thing on the giant scoreboard that the players will not be shaking hands given what's going on politically over Ukraine. So it was a given that the players would not be shaking hands. Now, according to the spirit of the game, you might well decide to shake hands. It has been a convention of sorts in the past, no rule. So the difference is convention, yes, rule, no. There are instances where no handshake has happened. There are instances multiple times when India and Pakistan players have done the handshake despite it being you know uh, the fact is, despite it being kind of part of the whole. So 2003, for example, now if anybody comes and says that 2003 World Cup India versus Pakistan in Centurion was not against a heated political backdrop, then that's not true. Centurion was against the backdrop of Kargil, but at the same time, at that point in time, the players did shake hands. So you've got evidence on both sides. I would suggest let's leave it to the players, because this is cricket, and here I will invoke Harbhajan Singh. I will invoke Harbhajan Singh because yesterday Harbhajan Singh said the same thing to Shubhain. In fact, Rohan, who is editing, Rohan, if you could add Harbhajan Singh's clip at the end of my thing, it will be better. Harbhajan Singh made this point yesterday in an interview that you should leave the handshake bit to the players. And I think he's right, that if the players want to go ahead and do a handshake, let's not try and preempt that. And if the players don't want to, let's leave it to the players. Because you see, I will also ask 2-3 counter questions here. 15 days back, we did not do a handshake. India did not do a handshake with Pakistan in the Under 19 World Cup. Now, that too is an ICC event. That is an ICC event which is conducted under the aegis of the ICC. Under 19 are more formative minds. Under 19 cricketers in Zimbabwe, India versus Pakistan game, India won by 58 runs. There was no handshake. What has changed in the last 15 odd days that you have decided to move from no handshake to handshake? Let's also go back to about 4 months. The Women's World Cup, Colombo, same city, in fact. Women's World Cup, India versus Pakistan, again, there was no handshake. So what has changed between September, October, and more recently January, February in Zimbabwe when India versus Pakistan clashed in the Under 19 World Cup? What has changed that you have to move from no handshake to handshake? So these are important questions. One has to, because if there is handshake, people will ask that what has changed? Why did you not do in Under 19 then? Why are you doing it now? What has transformed in the last 15 odd days? Has there been any overture on the part of Pakistan? Has there been any difference there? Or what is the result basis which the stand has changed? Finally, this whole thing about leaving it to the players, because it is the players, right? At the end of the day, in the Asia Cup, we saw what has happened. The players should take the final call, but you should also keep in mind that in the recent past, the precedence has been the women's game, the precedence has been the Under 19 game, where nothing really has changed in the political backdrop. Rather, Pakistan continues to fuel geopolitical instability. Think about it. It was Pakistan only which voted in favor of Bangladesh. What did Bangladesh say? That they do not want to tour India. They do not want to tour India because India, they were finding it unsafe. Which was the country that voted in favor of Bangladesh? Pakistan. So one country that was actually trying to instigate, trying to provoke, trying to egg Bangladesh on the wrong way by saying India is politically unsafe. Look how beautifully the World Cup is going on in Indian soil. Now, if that is the country you are playing with, which was trying to fuel geopolitical tension, you have not done the handshake with them 15 days back in the Under 19 World Cup. What is the ground on which you will change your stand? We don't know what the final outcome will be. So, will you leave it to the players, as Harbhajan Singh says, or will you take a stand on this? We've got to wait and see. Listen in to what Harbhajan Singh says, and this will be one real area of interest when the two teams come out in the open. Thanks very much for joining us and listening to what Harbhajan Singh said.
सी दैट इज़ इंटायरली प्लेयर्स विश। अगर उनको लगता है करना है करें, नहीं करना है मत करें, क्योंकि ये कहीं किसी किताब में तो लिखा नहीं है कि मैच के बाद हैंडशेक होना चाहिए या गले मिलना है। आजकल तो आप ड्रेसिंग रूमों में भी घुस जाते हो, तो ये कहाँ लिखा हुआ था। तो आप मैच खेलिए, दम से खेलिए, दम लगाइए वहाँ पे, वहाँ तक मैटर करता है। बट उसके बाद अगर आपको ठीक लगता है कि हाथ मिलाना चाहिए या गले मिलना चाहिए या कुछ और करना चाहिए, लोग तो ड्रेसिंग रूम में जाते हैं एक दूसरे के। अगर ऑस्ट्रेलिया की बात करें, इंग्लैंड, और वो एशेज़ के बाद एक मैच के बाद इकट्ठे बैठते हैं। तो मेरा नहीं ख्याल है कि अगर क्रिकेट खेल रहे हो तो फिर अभी ये सारी चीज़ें जो है अब पीछे रख देनी चाहिए और क्रिकेट को क्रिकेट की तरीके से देखना चाहिए।